Welcome back to On Deck Circle Podcast. Take two. Well, welcome back to On Deck Circle Podcast, brought to you by the Fantasy Six Pack. I am your mumbling host, Nick Z, with my very good friend in Chicago, Mr. Jason Beckner. How are you today?
What's up, Nick? We have real baseball to discuss this week.
We have real baseball.
Meaningful.
I have a panic button at work.
Yeah,
Someone got it to me as like a bit, and I meant to bring it here.
that'd have been
Because
perfect.
we are indeed talking about just some panics, some early opinions on some players. But before we get there, it's my favorite part of the show. My cold open question of the week. So, Mr. Jason, do you shop at Trader Joe's?
Sometimes, small amounts.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think a family can get all of their food at Trader
Yeah.
Joe's. It's kind of like the ancillary things. So me and
Yep.
my wife are strictly Trader Joe's shoppers. We get pretty much everything there. Have you ever had their like imitation Reese's?
I haven't, no.
So they're unbelievable. They come in like a big tub and they're little. But they recently came out with a beer.
Ooh,
It's a dark chocolate peanut butter porter, and it is absolutely delightful. I'm usually not a porter in the spring, summer months. It's more of like a wintry drink for me just because of how
yep.
heavy it is. But I was like, this is too good to pass up. So my question for you, what is the weirdest flavor or like ingredient in a beer that you've either had and or brewed?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, Jason. So what do we got here?
This one is a little bit easy because I indulge on a lot of
Yep.
beers. And one of my favorite styles of beer, if I don't know if you're familiar with it, it's called a saison, and it's a French Belgium style beer, and it usually uses a lot of weird ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Not weird, but like there's like dandelion saisons and like just
Yep.
weird forageable ingredients.
Okay.
They're also known as farmhouse ales, so that's another reason why they got a
Okay.
weird. And most recently, this one came right to my top of my head because I just had it probably a week ago. It was a saison made with bison grass, and it's just a
Okay.
type of grass. I'd never heard of it before. Solely bought it because of the weirdness factor, and I will say it was weird, and it tasted about what do you think it would taste like? It tasted very much of hay and dry grass, and I was not a fan of it.
Wow. Okay. The mine that I'm going to talk about is not this peanut butter porter. It is, however, I don't. So when you were here in Boston for your brief stint for that
Yep.
small weekend, you were when you came to visit, and we got some nice lunch. There's a beach nearby called Castle Island. I don't know if you heard about it or seen it. They also have a brewery.
Okay.
The brewery is over by where my apartment was. The beach and like it's a pretty big concession stand that's kind of like like has like a cult following here. It's called
Mhm.
Sullivan's.
Okay.
They have them at the airports. It's kind of everywhere, but this is like the original. So the brewery that I love the most is called Castle Island Brewing, and they came out today. They were like, "Oh, Jason, it came out today." This weird
Oh,
one that I was just about to talk to. It came out today
it's
on
fake.
April Fool's Day. It
It's
is
fake.
1000% not true.
You know what's so funny is I just talking to my wife earlier today. I'm like, if there's one trend that needs to stop, it's the fake social media posts by companies. And I'm
Yep.
like, the bit is over. It's been going on for about 15, 20 years now, for as long as social media's been around. When they first started doing it, it was funny. And now the running joke is like, don't believe anything you see on social media today. And yet here we are, and Nick fell for
it was hot dog water beer. But like
Nick fell for the April Fool's social media.
I read it in the morning.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't think about that. I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta pay rent today.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm like, hot dog water beer. That's kind of weird. The same place did have pickle juice beer. So like it would make sense. So I'm gonna go pickle juice beer just so I do not have to. I can't believe I told people at work about this. And they believed me. Oh my God. All right. I gotta do some damage control tomorrow. Oh boy.
Shout out my two favorite Boston breweries, Trillium Brewing. And it's not technically Boston, but they have a shop there, and it's Treehouse Brewing.
Oh, Treehouse,
yeah. They're not from Boston, but they have a tap room there.
Yes.
And I think you can even get it in the garden if I'm not mistaken, right?
Oh yeah. They have very good. I don't know if Chicago's like this, but they have a very good beer selection at the Garden.
I don't know what it's called now. I don't think it's called Guaranteed Rate anymore, but Sox Stadium.
Yeah.
Has a very good, they call it a craft beer cave. And it's just like, you can go in there, just grab a single can, pay for it, and it's probably about, I don't know, 20 to 25 local brewed craft beers available to take. So yeah. But like the United Center, Wrigley, they do have some craft. It's not like super deep and deep cuts. It's more like Goose Island and things like that. So
yeah.
All right, before we get into some of these opening weekend reactions, we got to talk about Fantrax. I know the season's already started, but that doesn't mean you can't move your league over to Fantrax today. You can always, transfer your league over today, especially for dynasty leagues. Fantrax is the number one spot to play. Player pool super deep. They got full customization. Highly, highly recommend Fantrax. Go on over to fantrax.com/fan six pack. Start a league or move your current league over there today. You will not be disappointed. Now, we've seen a lot of crazy things so far this year. It's only been 4 games, 5 games for some people. We've got torpedo bats.
Oh, yeah, we do.
That we could discuss this. We start right off the bat. So quick thoughts on the torpedo bats. Are they here to stay? Are they going to get banned? What's your thoughts?
I've got a take, Jason. I've been working on it. If we rename the torpedo bat something that's not torpedo bat, it would not be a story. If it was called just like they have like the axe handle bat with like the axe handle on the bottom. I think if we just rebranded torpedo bat, it would be a non-story like at all. I am, however, excited because Alex Bregman of my Boston Red Sox got a shipment of torpedo bats today.
Nice.
But also I think I don't want to say like, I think there's a lot of not fake news out there, but more like fake assumptions. I think people think that everyone on the Yankees is using this bat when it's just like Volpe and like Jazz. Like people are like, see, here's an Aaron Judge home run. And he's literally like, dude, I've hit enough home runs with the bat I'm using. I'm good. So I think it's overblown. It's fun to just like have something that's like a story, but I'm really liking the tweets that are like, back in my day, they just used steroids.
Yeah. I saw those. Those are great, man. Like I'd be a real man and just use anabolic steroid.
Yeah. That was the exact one.
That was perfect. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have much thoughts. I don't think it's anything too crazy. Like you said, it's not like these like no home run hitting guys are out here cranking 3 home runs a game. It's like Jazz Chisholm, Cody Bellinger, all these guys that have been shown the power across many seasons are now all of a sudden they hit a couple home runs opening weekend. They're like, it's because of the torpedo bats.
Exactly.
So I think it's a little bit blown out of proportion. They really didn't do much. They didn't like make a bat illegal. They just kind of reshaped it slightly. It's not even like they made it fatter like at the end. It's just like they moved the wood into an area where it makes the barrel start at an earlier time than before. So it's not like it's some illegal bigger size bat. It's still the same regulation. They just moved where the barrel starts versus where it started before.
Exactly. And it's just going to be like a copycat thing. And it's going to be like, this is kind of where I get not mad, but like the pitchers that are bitching about it.
Yeah.
Like, dude, chill out. It's a bat. Like the it's like thinner. Like it should be easier for you to like, because like the big joke in like Boston right now, and we're going to touch on it in a little bit, is like, oh, let's get Devers the torpedo bat. Well, like the dude's not making contact.
Yeah.
Like, you still need to catch up to this fastball.
Yep.
So like, again, it's more of the placement of where the weight is distributed. And that's kind of where I think, like, I mean, I'm not like a science guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm a baseball guy. So I'm just going to let baseball be baseball.
Yeah. I can't wait for like Jazz and Belly and whoever else is using them to all of a sudden go like 0 for 10. They're like, what happened to the torpedo bats?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's actually a good transition. You bring up Devers, because let's get into some of these guys we'll talk about here. Maybe if we're panicking or not on some of these shocking performances here to start off this first couple games of the season. And no better person to start with than your Boston Red Sox, Rafael Devers, off to a historically slow start, going 0 for his first 19, 15 strikeouts in 4 games. He's also not just secondary pitching. He can't even contact fastballs right now. And there was this big hoopla in spring training with Bregman signing on, if he's going to DH or not, or if he's going to play third or DH. He ultimately succumbed and went to the DH role. And now he's 0 for 19 with 15 strikeouts. And in the spring, too, we also saw him go 3 for 14 with 5 strikeouts and 1 walk. So it's not like all of a sudden opening day came, he started struggling. He wasn't doing very well in spring either. But I don't know. I mean, this is Devers we're talking about. I'm not too worried about him, but you're the Red Sox.
Yeah.
You're a resident Red Sox fan. Let us know what's your thoughts on Devers so far.
So Devers, full accountability here, my favorite player. So this is kind of like, it's going to be a little bit hard for me to talk about. There's so much going on here about Devers. They're like, oh, he's doing this on purpose because he's the DH. No, he's not. He is. There's something, I don't want to say seriously wrong, because it's just in his head at this point. Like, and I don't think sitting him helps. I believe I saw a tweet that said his like, it goes back to 2024. His last like 5 games were like 10 strikeouts. He hasn't gotten a hit in a major league game since like August or something, like something crazy. So worried, yes, but do I think it's like going to continue? No. I'm more worried just because baseball is such a mental game, and I worry that the Red Sox currently don't have that guy to like put his arm around him, like give him some sort of like confidence. Like, it can't be Bregman, because Bregman just got there. If like JD Martinez was still there, he would be the DH. But like, that's that you need a clubhouse guy to do that. And I don't know who could really do that. If it's like Tristan Cassis, I get it. But also, do you know who's not hitting, Jason? Tristan Cassis.
Yeah.
We could legitimately just be like the Red Sox. Are we panicked about them? And my answer would be no, just because like baseball is baseball. Like, you fail more than you succeed. But unfortunately right now, Devers is in such a rut that he's going to get out of it. But it's just like you said, it's the fastballs. They're pounding him. Just high fastball. I do want to say, this is the best approach I have seen from Devers, as in like, he's usually kind of just like free swinging, but yeah. I almost feel like the situations are now finding him, like the last, like, and they're 1-4 or 1-3, 1-4. Mm-hmm. And I feel like every single game, it's been like bottom 7, bottom 8, bottom 9, bases loaded, Devers, and he strikes out. But Yeah. Fantasy wise, you're not gonna if you believe that he's going to continue to struggle, I would trade him now just because I don't think you're going to lose much value just because of how poor he's played the last like week, 2 weeks plus. But yeah, as someone that's not in Boston, that's fully ingrained in this, where are you at with it? Oh, I think Jason's frozen. Anyway, I'll just kill some time talking about the Red Sox. While the Devers stuff is scary, something that I have touched upon in the last few weeks was my fear of Garrett Crochet not getting an extension. Well, you know who got an extension? Garrett Crochet. So very excited about that. It seems like a pretty good deal for the most part. But yeah, I'm very excited about Crochet. Moving forward with Crochet in tow, the future of this is now just going to turn into a Red Sox podcast until my very good friend Jason comes back. But moving forward with Crochet locked in, there's a lot of talk about a Christian Campbell extension, which, dude, Christian Campbell has been an absolute monster. Him and Wilyer Abreu, who I also think we will be talking about later, have kind of been the only Red Sox that like show up with a pulse of the last like 2 weeks. So very excited about Christian Campbell. And Abreu has been a wonderful surprise all off season long. It's been like, let's trade Abreu, let's trade Abreu, let's trade Abreu. And now it's just like, he's your best hitter. So I'm not quite sure. Jason,
I'm back.
I turned this into a Red Sox podcast for a bit. So
okay, no worries. I'm glad we're able to take over while my computer is completely crashed on me.
I went over the Crochet extension, sick. I went over Wilyer Abreu being a little bit hot, and I said we're going to talk about him a little bit more later.
Yeah.
And the Christian Campbell being awesome, and perhaps an extension for him soon. So I just want to know where are you at with Devers?
I'm not worried. I think this is not some like young buck that's all of a sudden struggling or whatnot. I mean, this is a guy we've seen excel many seasons in a row. I think it's just a little bit of adjustment period. I would not be looking to trade or sell Devers. I like you. Devers is my favorite Red Sox. I'm not even a Red Sox fan. He's just one of my favorite Red Sox players. I'm all in on Devers. I think he still has a lot left in him, and I don't think I'm not selling him or I'm not concerned about him yet. Now, we'll check back in a couple of weeks and see where he is. But as of right now, I'm not off the Devers train. I did see a really cool tweet, which I thought was fun to bring up. And this is not necessarily a negative Devers tweet. This is more of a Tony Gwynn pro tweet. Did you see this tweet?
Yes.
So Devers is already struck out 15 times in, I think it was 19 at bats. In 1995 or 93, Tony Gwynn struck out only 15 times in 585 at bats. So that's more of a pro Tony Gwynn tweet than it is a negative Devers tweet. That's where I am on that. So,
okay. Well, I'm optimistic. The word is optimistic. I'm excited, but we'll see what we got next.
All right, let's get into another guy here. There might be a little bit more concerning about, and that is Lawrence Butler of the Athletics. I will call them the Athletics. That's basically what they're calling themselves. They don't even have a location. So of the Athletics, we saw him, Lawrence come out last year and have a pretty nice breakout. Flirted with a 2020 season. Now in 2025, he started the season going 3 for his first 18 and his first 21 plate appearances. No home runs, no stolen bases. There's many things that do have me concerned. That don't have me concerned. Sorry, he isn't striking out. He's not hitting the ball on the ground a lot. He's making a decent amount of hard contact. He's increased his launch angle so far this year, so he's trying to get the ball up in the air and get out of that park. I think we just need to be patient. He also had a really slow start in 2024 too. He had 20 of his 22 home runs from July to the end of the season. So the bulk of his production did come in the last 3 months of the season. So that's where I am on Lawrence Butler. I will throw caution to the wind, though, because I've only seen him produce in 3 months of a season. So it's not like we have a long track record of Lawrence Butler and going to fall back on and be like, oh, this is what we can expect out of him, to be a slow starter. But he did start slow in 2024. But where are you at on Lawrence Butler?
Yeah, this is a tough one because, like you stated, the last year he kind of just came on. Like, I think he hit the majority of his home runs and like everything towards the end of the year.
Yep.
So he was almost a league winner, especially in redrafts, because he was on waivers. And if you picked him up at the right time. But yeah, this is one I'm a little bit more concerned about. Mainly just because, again, like Devers has a track record of being a top, I don't want to say top 10 hitter, but like he's a top 15, 20 hitter. So this is more concerning to me, but I'm not actually concerned. I think it hasn't even been a fantasy week yet. Like, so this is definitely someone that I'm continuing to just monitor, I guess, but not someone I'm ultra worried about. The speed, the power is there. Like you said, he's not really striking out. So that's kind of it with him. I'd buy him in Dynasty if someone's trying to get rid of him. I mean, the A's just gave this guy an extension over the offseason. So clearly they saw him putting the work in. So it's not like a work thing. So yeah, definitely in on buying Lawrence Butler, not so much on the panicking about him. No.
Yeah, and that was my biggest takeaways. He just isn't striking out. He's still getting contact on the ball, making good contact. They're just going right at people, and he's just getting a little bit of bad luck here. I think that stadium is a bit of a bandbox. We saw it last night. The Cubs literally teed off on that stadium last night. I mean, Jesus Christ, Carson Kelly had the first Cubs cycle since Mark Grace of 1993. So that stadium will lend itself to offense, and I would continue to hold on to Lawrence Butler for sure. I don't think it's anything worth panicking about right now.
For sure, yeah.
Another guy that I think we were kind of talking about before the season started, and if we should be panicking or not, and that is more popular name here, and that's Roki Sasaki of the Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm sure most people have seen the tweets and the images of him crying the other night. They're quote unquote crying, but he's only made 2 starts so far. The control has been a huge issue. 4.2 innings pitched so far, 9 walks, only 5 strikeouts. He's given up 3 runs. I mean, this is a little bit of kind of saw this coming, right? We kind of see these international players come over and kind of, you got to think about it. You're moving your whole life to a whole other country across the world, just up and rooted in a matter of like a month. You got trying to adjust. Nobody around you speaks your language. It's a bit of a transition period we see with some of these international guys. Let me tell you this. Can you guess this international pitcher, based on their first starts in the MLB? 20 innings, 14 hits, 10 earned, 9 walks, 3 home runs allowed.
Daisuke Matsuzaka.
Nope. More recent.
Yamamoto.
Those were Ohtani's first 4 starts.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
obviously not an exact comparison because Ohtani's obviously a freak of nature, but you can kind of see where some of these guys come over and they kind of struggle. Even hitters, a lot of the international hitters come over and we see them kind of struggle at the beginning with their career in MLB. So I think you just got to be patient with Roki. It may take a few weeks, maybe in a few months. Maybe he doesn't fully break out until the second half of this year. But I'm not worried about him. Still only 23 years old. Still has a lot of upside, tons of pedigree. Now, I may take him out of my starting lineup in fantasy baseball for a few weeks to see where we kind of go from here. I don't know if you can confidently put him in your lineup right now, but I think if you give him a couple weeks and let him, maybe rest or on your bench, or maybe even just stream him against some weaker opponents. But I'm not panicking about Roki. I think we still have a lot for him to prove.
Yeah, this is another one where I think it's kind of like a Devers type of situation where it's a mind over matter type thing. And Charles, is that a beagle? All right, Charles with a beagle.
Yeah.
Or a Jack Russell Terrier. I'm not entirely worried at all. I'm very happy he's with the Dodgers and struggling, not because I want the Dodgers to not be good, but because he's young. Like he's 23, 24. Like it's great to have Yamamoto there, who again did not succeed when he first got here. Yeah, there it is, Jack Russell. Did not succeed as soon as he got here, and then you got Ohtani as well. So like he has those players to put their arm around him and be like, hey, we're in LA. I know this is a huge market. I know you're all over the place, but it's okay to just like lay back and chill.
Yep.
Because again, it's not like he's not getting crushed. It's the walks. And walks to me, to someone that's been, I mean, granted, it is a different ball and it is overseas. He didn't walk guys in Japan.
Yep.
So that's something that I think is fixable, and it can come with the way you attack American hitters. Like it could just be a different tendency for like different players, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But you just kind of gotta like, just for like an inside thing, I just traded a bunch of things in a league that Jason and I just joined to get Roki. I'm gonna leave Roki in my minors or on my bench for the foreseeable future until he's ready. I fully believe that Roki will be great. He's shown everything that he could that proves that he will be great. So not someone I'm panicked about. I would like you say, and that I said, just let him figure it out. You don't need to put him in your lineup every week. I know it's hard because he's that like shiny new toy that's like, oh, I've got to play him. But like it's hard, and he's just a kid. So let's ease off a bit. Even like I've seen, I forget who it was. Someone was like giving him shit for crying, which I understand, but also like just chill the fuck out. Like he's clearly going through a lot. He moved his entire life. He's a literal kid.
Yeah.
If he moved me to Japan when I was 23 to do anything, not panicked at all. Very excited, honestly, about Roki.
Yeah, just let him, if like anything, just let him sit on your bench for a couple weeks and see what happens next few starts. Maybe, like I said, it may even take a few months for him to fully adjust. So hold on that panic button. Don't eject yet on the Roki Sasaki. This next guy here we're going to talk about may want to hit the panic button on a little bit. That's Masyn Winn of the Cardinals. This is a guy that was getting a ton of preseason buzz, not only by the industry, but also myself included.
Yeah, us.
Yeah. However, things have really started off real slow for Winn. I mean, for starters, been hitting solely out of the 9-hole instead of the leadoff spot with the expectations after spring training. Everyone's like, oh, get in on Masyn Winn. He's going to lead off for this Cardinals team. I was in that camp as well. And then that last spring training game, they moved into the 9-hole.
Someone came in here and said it.
Someone asked us were we concerned about him moving from the leadoff to the 9-hole? And we were like, nah, I wouldn't be too worried about it. And here we are, 4 games in. He's only batted out of the 9-hole. And then we just also, he's hitless in his first 16 plate appearances. Got 17 strikeouts, 2 walks. His K rate is atrocious. He's chasing out of the zone a ton. His quality of contact's piss poor. He's got a 14% hard hit rate, 10% barrel rate. His ex-WOBA ranked in the bottom of the league. I might be a little concerned on Masyn Winn. I know it's early, it's cold. I'm not going to drop him in any sense unless I'm desperately needing a position on my a roster spot. But I'm definitely my helium and my Masyn Winn blue might be fading a little bit.
Yeah, this one's tough. I don't know if this is good or bad, but the Cardinals don't have another shortstop.
Right. And that was his calling card last year. It's like, well, Masyn Winn's gonna play. They have nobody else.
And it's kind of that way now. They just drafted JJ Weatherhold. He's not gonna be up now. But so I think there's part of me that is like some players need to play through it. And I think Devers is like an example of that.
Yep.
And there are players that you need to play through it with. I think like Roki is not someone that I want to start. Masyn Winn, I think, is more closer to Roki, where I'm like, let's just put him on our bench. Let's get a replacement level shortstop just to throw in fantasy-wise, and then just wait till he figures it out. Because, like, we read all this stuff in the offseason. He's like, oh, okay, he changed everything. And he changed his approach. He was very much like, I'm not going to sell out for power. I'm just going to get on base. But, like, at some point, he had an awful spring, too. So at some point, you kind of have to be like, okay, I'm just going to go back to what worked. Because last year, he was great. I mean, he wasn't, I don't want to say great. He was above average. He was a good shortstop. He was a borderline good to great fantasy shortstop.
Yep.
So I think this is a guy you hold, redraft, definitely holding in Dynasty. Depending on if you're in like a 12-team redraft, I think you can probably cut him, honestly, depending on like who you could pick up. But holding in Dynasty, just kind of got to wait it out. And then, granted, it's just so hard. Like, baseball's hard.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful for Winn. I'm great. Like, he's great defensively, too. So, like, that's another thing. Like, they're not going to take him out. Like, I don't think he gets sent down.
No.
Because he's so good defensively. And they have no other option. So I think this is going to kind of be like, all right, let's reassess in like a month and see where we're at.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, defensive shortstops are always going to get playing time, whether they can hit or not. There's going to, if anything, they just ride in the 9-hole like he is right now and continue to get at bats because you're not going to take him out of the lineup because his defense is just too good. All right, let's get into some other guys here.
Anthony Volpe, fucking like he can't hit sometimes. Let's get Masyn Winn the torpedo bat.
Right. Exactly. And then he'll be right back in hitting dingers like everybody else. All right, before we get into some more of these names here, talk about our FantasySixPack.net becoming a member today. You can get access to a whole bunch of stuff, great stuff. If you become a member, you get access to all of the site rankings, whether it's baseball, football. You get access to a lot of our good betting content. You can get access to our fully customizable Discord. You can get one-on-one questions answered. You can get to talk with all of our staff members and other members on there. Not just for baseball. We got football, basketball, hockey, all that good stuff on there. I really love interacting with all the members over there. They got trade questions, buy or sell questions, any sort of like customizable questions that you got, custom league suggestions, things like that. You can do all that by becoming a member today. Just head on to FantasySixPack.net/plans and sign up today. All right, let's go from some of these panicking guys to some of these top performers that kind of shocked us. At least shocked me. I'm sure some of you too. Some of these performances that we saw today. Start off with one of the bigger opening day shocker. That's Mackenzie Gore. Made one hell of a season debut. Went 6 strong innings, 13 strikeouts, which is a career high. 1 hit, no walks. Unfortunately, didn't get the win because it's Washington, but a very solid quality start. Gore had a really solid 2024. Nothing to write home about, like nothing spectacular, but struck out 25% of the batters he faced, maintained a sub-4 ERA. And if he continues this, I mean, he could end up being a league winner. His ADP was outside the top 200. And I pulled in just the data from like draft season of like March and nothing after his first start. So he had a ADP outside the top. He was the 77th pitcher being drafted in this spring. So again, he had a really good 2024. So I don't think you can expect this every time, but this could be a really good starting pitcher for you in redraft leagues for sure. And then even, he's young enough, I think you can continue to do this in Dynasty as well. So
yeah, this is again kind of like a prospect fatigue guy.
Yeah.
Like, how old is Mackenzie Gore now?
I gotta look it up, but he's probably got to be at least like 25 at this point, 26.
He's 26.
Yeah.
Like, that's still so young.
Especially for pitchers. Usually pitchers don't start excelling till like
27, 30.
Yeah, exactly.
So really have to pay attention to his next start. He's not going to strike out 13 guys. That's kind of like ridiculous. But yeah, if he can end up being like a SP2 or 3 at the value you got him, completely league winner for sure. Always concerned with any pitchers from the Nationals, honestly. That's kind of a team that I don't know I mean, like Strasburg, but like even that they couldn't really handle. So Gore is someone, honestly, if I'm an owner in redraft or dynasty, I'm trying to trade him just to get more of a get like a lesser arm with like a decent bat back.
Yep.
That's kind of where I would how I would treat Gore. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, but I'm not buying this at all.
Yeah, no, that he was definitely the like surprise of opening day. Not just because he, had an awesome start, but the 13 strikeouts, that was never his calling card was never a strikeout rate. It was like that high. That was good to see. We actually have a live trade question here. Let's see if we can get some feedback on this. He was offered Willie Adames for Cody Bellinger. He's currently using Willie Castro at shortstop, and he has Cassis and Diaz.
Was so I guess Willie Adames for Cody Bellinger.
If you're gonna use those guys at first, and depending on how many utility spots you have or how many outfielder spots you have, I prefer Bellinger over Adames, but I could see why trading away Bellinger, the surplus at first base. But like I said, depending on how many outfielders you start or whatnot. But to me, it's a fair trade, and I would make that trade. I think you have a little bit of a surplus at first base with Cassis and Diaz, because even if Cassis can't stay healthy, you slide Diaz in there.
Yeah, Frank, can I ask Frank a question? Frank, is this daily and is it dynasty? And fair offer, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I mean that's a fair concern too. I mean, a lot of Adames' power came in Milwaukee, where a lot of it was indoors. But yeah, again, based on the context you gave us,
I would do
that deal.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but just because
especially if it's daily. If it's daily, I'm doing that because Willie Castro daily, yeah. So he should have a bunch of positions too, Castro, because Castro's a great player. Yep. Honestly, he holds a bunch of value and I think he kind of is slept on, honestly. So definitely would do that. So come back in like 8 weeks and let me know.
Yeah, I love it. All right, let's go on to our next guy here. This one, I guess we're going to resort back to you. You're the resident Boston guy here, but Wilyer Abreu. He had a little bit of a shine. He had some moments last season too, where he really had he could carry you in a weekly head-to-head format last year. But great opening weekend, went 7 for 11 in his first 16 plate appearances. Got 2 home runs, a stolen base, 6 RBIs, walked 5 times, and has not struck out yet. I found this little stat while I was doing our banners here. He's the first Red Sox player with a 1,300 slug percentage, 5+ walks, 0 strikeouts in 5-game span since Big Papi in 2007.
Yeah. I kind of mentioned this when you crashed out, but Wilyer's been someone all off season that was kind of like, we got to trade Wilyer. We got to trade Wilyer. He was kind of seen as like a platoon guy, and he was sick. He had that Mookie Betts food poisoning or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And he missed most of spring training. So I was very impressed with how well he's played so far. This is going to be me just doing a little ball washing of Heim Bloom. But we got Wilyer Abreu for Christian Vasquez. Like, that's nuts. And Wilyer Abreu was like an everyday player. So I'm very curious just in general. I'm buying this because Wilyer is a hell of a player. Not saying he's a top 100 dynasty asset or anything, but he's that, like, I'm going to make a comp and it's going to not really make sense, but it's like a Brendan Nimmo, like that tier of outfielder. Like, not amazing, but like could hit you 20 bombs, will get on base, won't get out that much, will get out, but not enough to like kill you. So definitely someone, I hope the Red Sox keep, And two that I would be buying in dynasty leagues. What pisses me off, I traded Wilyer for Masyn Winn a few weeks ago, and that made me sad because one, I traded a Red Sox player, and two, Masyn Winn's been a bum. But excited about Wilyer and the whole season. Very curious to where this goes for Roman Anthony, because it's kind of just been like they'll trade Wilyer and Roman will play right.
Yep.
And I don't know Wilyer won a Gold Glove in right. Like, that's nuts.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious to how this, and I don't know if you saw, but Roman Anthony hit 2 homers the other day. Like, he needs to be in a big club like now.
Yep.
So they need to figure that out on just like where to move people. And I'm excited just about, like, he's 25 and he's just kind of like he wasn't highly regarded. He was like, I think when they trade for him, he was like the Astros 13th ranked prospect. This is what baseball is about, is guys like this, the ones that just like have to work to get this good. And he's one of my favorite players, I'd say.
Yeah. Again, I talked about a little bit his output last year. In a part-time role, he had a 781 OPS with 15 home runs. And that was only in a part-time role. So
how many at-bats did he have? Like 4?
Yeah, 400, 399.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this one, as someone that owns Roman Anthony in a lot of places, this one pains me because, like we just talked about, I don't know if I can hold on to him.
No,
in many leagues.
hold him, Jason, hold him.
I have to, but like
I think what's going to happen is I think they're going to move Rafaela as a utility
guy. Yeah,
because he's unbelievable at defense, Rafaela.
Right.
But when you have someone as good as Anthony, this is like one of the best problems you can have is having too many outfielders, I think, especially when Rafaela can play anywhere in the infield and when you have to deal with Trevor Story because Trevor Story blows.
Yeah, we'll see what happens like that. I showed you my TGFBI bench, man. I am getting killed.
That is wild.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Part of it's on me. I drafted some of these guys.
Acuna, yeah.
I drafted Acuna. I drafted some of those pitchers. I drafted Tobias Myers, and I held out hope that they were gonna like be only like a week, and I would be able to fill in my spot. But then other guys started hitting the IL that last week of spring training, and then I tried dropping some of them. But you know how TGFBI is, man. If you get outbid, you just lost out on a whole week. That's what happened to me. I tried dropping Myers. I tried dropping someone else, and I got outbid. So I'm actually starting a guy in my IL in my lineup in TGFBI.
Oh no! You hate to see it.
Had no choice, man. Had no choice. I had no other options. That's what sucks about the weekly waiver wire, man. All right, let's get to another guy here, and this one's shocking, but not too shocking. That's Eugenio Suarez of the Diamondbacks. He's always been known as a big power hitter, but he went 4 for 14 in the first weekend. All 4 of his hits have been for home runs. He's currently slugging 1143 and has an OPS of 1555. Home runs have always been Suarez's calling card. That's what you draft Suarez for. Had a little bit of a down year last couple of years, but right back up here again. Starting with the season was super hot again. I'm not going to fully buy into this home run pace for Suarez, but as someone that was not being heavily drafted, to come out of the gate in a roto league, in many roto leagues, to get 4 home runs in the first 3 games is huge. I'm not running out to buy Suarez, but I would definitely check in redraft leagues if he's on your waiver wire. Definitely get him added because you can definitely get him into your lineup and get that power that you might need in some of your leagues. But little bit of a shock to see that 4 home runs for a little bit. I think prior to Sunday night game, he was leading the majors in home runs at 4.
Wow. Yeah. So this is someone that if you told me he was going to be in the first segment of our show, we were like, are we panicked about him because he's gotten no hits in the first week? He's going to finish with the same amount of home runs. He's due for a slump at some point. I mean, granted, everyone's due for a slump, but like he's going to hit 30 home runs. It's going to happen either 10 in a week, 10 in another week, and 10 in another week, or something else. Like they're all going to be there. They're all going to be accounted for. It's kind of like played for the A's, Chris Davis.
Yes.
He would bat like the same average for.
It was like 235 every year for 4 years straight.
Every year, and I think that's kind of like him, but for home runs. So you're getting what you expected from Suarez, but it's just a matter of when you get it. And you've wasted 4 home runs in the first week of the season. Yeah,
no, I agree. I thought it was a little bit of shocking. I thought it was worth bringing up as like one of those shocking stats from this weekend. Couple more things before we get out of here.
Jason, we've got to get off the schneid here.
I know.
We're behind 0-4.
I will say I got screwed out of my under runs. Freaking Bybee got scratched the day of.
Yes, that is
day
true.
Before.
That does not count. We are 0-3.
That one I'll take the void on that one because Bybee was scheduled. He got and luckily I can't give out my Nerfy for the Mets Marlins because that didn't hit either.
No.
Miami got the Kodai Senga in the first. Kyle Stowers with a 2-run home run. But I got some other ones.
What do we got?
If you want to get spicy, which I'm kind of feeling spicy right now, plus odds, White Sox money line.
What's funny is I looked at that earlier today. I wasn't doing research for this. I just like to just kind of course through DraftKings and be like, all right, this is what I like. I enjoy. Thank you, Jack.
Yeah.
The Jack Russell.
The Jack Russell guy.
That was one that I was like, it's kind of frisky.
Yeah, I like that one only because it's plus odds. White Sox have been playing better ball than I expected. Don't get me wrong.
Angels and just having a resurgence.
Yeah, right. It was against the crappy Angels, but we'll take the output that and Shane Smith, Rule 5 draft pick. Shane Smith, someone that I was high on coming into the season because for one, he's Rule 5, so we had to basically stay on the roster. But he also had a really impressive spring. Gets to start tonight, so I'm curious to see. Like I said, plus 135 odds on White Sox money line. I like that. I also like no runs first inning. Cubs Athletics. Justin Steele versus Severino.
So what is your official Beck's bet? Or
I'm gonna go
because you missed one last week.
No. I'm gonna go spicy. I'm gonna go White Sox money line tonight.
Okay. I don't know if this is allowed, so tell me if it's not. Mine's gonna be for tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, it's fine.
Just Red Sox money line.
Who they got?
Orioles. It's minus 115. I'm hoping with the new extension in tow, Mr. Garrett Crochet is like the stopper of the losing skid. But you know what? I've also just been like, I don't use DraftKings like ish sometimes.
Yep. So
they've been doing no sweat homer bets, and I'm just hammering Rafael Devers every single time. But I'm also hammering $5 every time for like a strikeout. So like it's either a home run or a strikeout.
Right.
And I end up just breaking even, which is a win, really.
All right. Well, let me lock that in. I'm gonna lock yours in right now.
Yeah.
What was the money line, right?
Yep.
For tomorrow for the Sox.
Yeah, they should be there. Yeah, minus 122 now. It just went up.
That's not bad actually for a money line bet. I'll take that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll lock those in and we'll get out of here. Go watch baseball just started, so I'm about to go hit up the couch and watch some games. We'll talk to you next week.
See you, bud.